From hypothesis to peer review, scientific research is how we advance knowledge. In this video, we'll explore words used in the study and discovery of new information. With definitions, examples, and images, let's talk about the vocabulary of research. Data as noun. Facts, figures, or information used as a basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. Raw or unprocessed information or statistics. The weather data predicted a high chance of rain in the afternoon. The scientist reviewed the experimental data to draw conclusions about the hypothesis. The company analyzed sales data to identify trends and make strategic decisions. The survey data showed a clear preference among respondents for organic food products. The study collected data on the participants' exercise habits and dietary choices. Conclusion as noun. A judgment or decision reached after consideration. The end or finish of an event, process, or text. The detective drew a conclusion based on the evidence gathered at the crime scene. In conclusion, I would like to thank everyone for their hard work. The movie's conclusion left audiences stunned and wanting more. After careful analysis, the researchers reached the conclusion that the hypothesis was incorrect. The conclusion of the book ties up all the loose ends and provides a satisfying resolution. Protocol as verb. To conduct oneself in accordance with a specific code of etiquette or procedure for a particular activity. To follow or adhere to a set of formal rules or procedures, especially in diplomacy or international relations. The researcher was required to protocol the steps taken during the experiment. The computer system was programmed to protocol when a certain error occurred. The security personnel were trained to protocol in case of an emergency. The company protocol dictated that all employees sign a non-disclosure agreement. The coach protocoled the team's strategy for the upcoming game. Observation as noun. A remark, comment, or statement based on what is observed, an instance of noting or remarking upon something. The act or process of observing or watching something carefully, often to gain information, insights, or understanding. The detective's keen powers of observation enabled him to solve the mystery and apprehend the culprit. His observation that actions speak louder than words resonated with the audience, prompting reflection on their own behavior. Her observation of the patient's symptoms led to an accurate diagnosis of the rare neurological disorder. The researcher presented her findings and observations at the conference, sparking further discussion and debate. The astronomer made detailed observations of the night sky, recording the movements of celestial bodies. Replication as noun. The action or process of copying or reproducing something. The repetition or duplication of experimental results to validate findings. The replication of the software program was completed ahead of schedule. The replication of the experiment yielded consistent results. The replication of historical artifacts requires meticulous attention to detail. The artist's replication of the famous painting was almost indistinguishable from the original. DNA replication is a fundamental process in cell division. Variable as noun. A factor or element that is subject to change or variation. In mathematics and statistics, a symbol representing a quantity that can assume any of a set of values. The researcher analyzed the relationship between several variables to identify patterns. In programming, a variable stores data that can be modified during program execution. The economist studied the variables influencing consumer spending behavior. Temperature is a key variable affecting the rate of chemical reactions. The experiment controlled for various variables to isolate the effects of the independent variable. Experimentation as noun. The act, process, or practice of conducting experiments or systematic investigations in order to discover, explore, or test hypotheses, theories, or new ideas. The systematic and methodical approach to exploring possibilities, alternatives, or innovations in various fields, such as science, technology, art, or business. The chef's culinary experimentation led to the creation of unique and inventive dishes. Artists often engage in experimentation with different mediums and techniques to push the boundaries of their creativity. The success of the company's products is attributed to its culture of experimentation and risk-taking. The laboratory encourages experimentation to foster innovation and discovery. In the field of medicine, experimentation is crucial for developing new treatments and therapies. Hypothesis as noun. A proposition or assumption made as a basis for further investigation, reasoning, or discussion. An explanation for an observation or phenomenon that is provisionally accepted in order to interpret and predict other observations. She formulated a hypothesis about the cause of the problem. His hypothesis was based on extensive research and experimentation. The scientist's hypothesis was that the new drug would cure the disease. The hypothesis proved to be correct after further testing. The hypothesis was disproven by the results of the study. Variable as adjective. Able to be changed or adapted, not constant or static, not consistent or having a fixed pattern, liable to change or vary. The success of the project was hindered by the variable availability of resources. The company's profits were variable, influenced by market fluctuations and economic conditions. The quality of the product showed variable improvement over time. Her mood was variable, often shifting from joyous to melancholic without warning. The weather in this region is highly variable, with frequent changes in temperature and precipitation. Analysis as noun. The process of examining something in detail in order to understand it or explain it. The study of the components of a substance or compound to understand its nature or characteristics. The literary analysis of the novel explored its themes and symbolism. The data analysis revealed interesting patterns in consumer behavior. The forensic analysis of the evidence helped solve the crime. Chemical analysis of the water samples detected high levels of contaminants. The economic analysis of the market indicated potential areas for growth. Protocol as noun. A set of formal rules and procedures governing the conduct of a specific activity or event, especially in diplomacy or international relations. An established code of etiquette or procedure for a particular activity, such as a diplomatic ceremony or scientific experiment. The athlete violated the team's protocol by skipping practice without permission. The hospital had strict protocols in place for dealing with infectious diseases. The protocol for conducting a scientific study involves obtaining ethical approval, obtaining consent from participants, and adhering to strict guidelines. The diplomatic protocol required that the visiting dignitary be greeted by the highest-ranking official. The Internet Protocol, IP, is a standardized method of transmitting data between devices. Validation as noun. The act of officially approving or recognizing something as valid or acceptable. The process of confirming the accuracy, truth, or legitimacy of something. The artist sought validation from critics and peers for her innovative approach to painting. The court sought validation of the evidence presented by the prosecution. Feedback from customers served as validation for the company's product design. The university requires validation of academic credentials before admitting students into its programs. The scientist conducted experiments to provide validation for her hypothesis. Experiment as noun. A scientific procedure undertaken to make a discovery, test a hypothesis, or demonstrate a known fact. A controlled procedure designed to investigate a specific phenomenon or answer a research question. An action or process carried out to observe the effects of changing variables or conditions, typically in order to gather data, analyze results, and draw conclusions. The biologist conducted an experiment to study the effects of temperature on plant growth. In chemistry class, students performed an experiment to determine the reaction rate of different substances. The psychology experiment investigated the relationship between sleep patterns and cognitive function. The results of the experiment confirmed the hypothesis that exposure to sunlight affects mood. Scientists use controlled experiments to test the effectiveness of new medications and treatments. Experiment as verb. To engage in a scientific procedure or systematic investigation aimed at testing a hypothesis, making a discovery, or obtaining data. To try or carry out something new or different in order to observe its effects or consequences. To conduct a trial or test. She experimented with different recipes until she found the perfect combination of ingredients. Teachers often encourage students to experiment with different study techniques to find what works best for them. The researchers plan to experiment with various methods of data collection to improve accuracy. The company is experimenting with a new marketing strategy to attract younger customers. Before launching the product, they experimented with different packaging designs to gauge consumer preferences. Procedure as noun. A series of steps or actions performed in a particular order to achieve a specific outcome. A method or protocol for carrying out a task or activity. The established or customary way of doing something. A standard practice or procedure followed in a particular context or field. Before undergoing surgery, patients are informed about the procedure and its potential risks. Before boarding the plane, passengers must follow the security screening procedure conducted by airport staff. The company has a strict hiring procedure that includes resume screening, interviews, and background checks. The surgical procedure involves disinfecting the area, making an incision, and suturing the wound. The legal procedure for filing a lawsuit involves submitting a complaint, serving the defendant, and attending court hearings. Methodology as noun. A system or set of methods used in a particular area of study or activity. The study or analysis of the principles and procedures used in a particular field of study or activity. The company's methodology for project management emphasized collaboration and communication. The methodology section of the report detailed the steps taken to achieve the results. The researcher outlined the methodology used in conducting the experiment. The methodology of the study involved surveying participants and analyzing the data. She developed a new methodology for teaching mathematics to young children. Ethics as noun. The branch of philosophy that deals with questions of morality, principles of right and wrong conduct, and the study of ethical principles and values. The moral principles, standards, or guidelines that govern individual or group behavior and decision-making in a particular context. Medical professionals are bound by a strict code of ethics that emphasizes patient care and confidentiality. Ethical considerations play a crucial role in scientific research, ensuring the welfare and rights of human subjects. Journalists adhere to ethical standards of truthfulness, accuracy, and fairness in reporting. Business ethics dictate how companies should conduct themselves in their interactions with customers, employees, and stakeholders. Legal professionals are expected to uphold the highest ethical standards in their practice of law. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.